Hello guys and welcome to TFT World Set 12 Grand Finals last day, game number 4. Enjoy.
Regardless of whatever math and possibilities there are with checkmate points, he has low points, high points, he would always go for chaos, and has to be Volterix the entire tournament long.
Oh yeah.
He's always just been going the most chaotic option. On ladder in EU West, everyone knows that Volta essentially preps for the Global Championship Finals since the very first day of the set, always going for trainer golems if he has a chance.
I think this was also another game where Xiue and Volta stood on the same portal together, right? They, in game 1, both stood on trainer golems. It was Xiue who won it. Also winning it out on this game as well with that duplicator, and that could throw some crazy situations in. If we get a lot of early gold, we go for those compositions that cap around 5 costs and get a 2-star version of them.
Yeah, I really love seeing it, but what I also love seeing is a double Seraphine in a first chop. That Mage Soraka comp has been doing quite well. We've been seeing it a lot on several boards, and Zira agrees.
And one thing I want to mention for Zira in this game particularly, some interesting concepts of game theory here applied. You might just think he wants to go for an 8, doesn't really care about his placement. That is not true. One, he wants to try and contest whoever is second in points to make them have the hardest time to reach that check for the next game. Yep. Higher chances, of course, of Zio winning the tournament. Second, he wants to, largen the gap between any players, take away those 8 points, removing more points from the total pool that can be earned in this game number 4. And he wants to maybe practice for what win-out conditions are. He will be playing a first-rate playstyle. He doesn't really care what his placement is this game.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think you should think the first priority should be denying points from the player who's in that second place, right? Maybe you can meet him in check, right? It doesn't matter that much where he places in this game, but there's a lot of other factors to consider here, a lot of other things to think about.
Yeah, that's going to be the name of the game. But the big question is, of course, what augments are going to be cropping up. First set of augments coming in a couple of seconds. And if that is yet another prismatic or even just gold, we can see some very strong options here. And Fortune favors the bowl, for example, coming up right out of the gates. I'm seeing a bunch of +1s showing up on our 9 frame as well.
Yeah, a lot of interesting options here.
Stars are born.
Yeah.
Here I am. It's always been the entire tournament long a very, very strong option for posturing into a reroll, allowing no one else to really contest you on that. We do also see a few more augments that posture you into rerolls. Category 5 for the Jinx enjoyer of the tournament. 5 games of Jinx in day 1 and 2. Midfeed once again trying to play for the Hunter line in this game.
Both Gear, PYM, and Xiue actually taking Stars Are Born in this lobby. And for Xiue, right, Stars Are Born is not something that really caps out super high, but again, isn't on check yet, so doesn't need to consider that. Just wants to worry about other lines. And we see for title here, press the attack, right, going for that multi-line.
Yeah, also Volta, maybe. So we already saw title there with the multi-attack that's totally committed, so maybe Volta will be the one to have to do the switch. He's starting with a Catherine, and we see that he's holding also Lilias. He's holding cost 1 to do the regular reroll, so maybe Ari will be the possibility for him. And got out. He got like, boom. So, no, sorry, man. You're not playing Multi-Striker now.
I do wonder if Zue, this would be maybe too big brain and maybe too mean if he's picking Stars Are Born, so that if anyone in the second or third place in the standings, if they play reroll, Zia will wait and then just pick the units from their reroll and essentially grief by tripling the chances of taking those units out of the pool.
That's some crazy tech, actually.
Listen, I'm a griefer, Crone, as you've maybe noticed. US is wild.
This is literally the specific, all right, I Tactician's Crown on day 3, game 3, right before a check, I click Stars Are Born, I grief people. This is such a specific situation for this.
$150,000 on the line. You have to go through all the possible probabilities.
I like the angle here for Xiue because he's obviously looking for the Shyvana with the Stars Are Born, but he's also very close to the Numsy 3-star. So that Numsy could be so prevalent in the mid game, in the early game, in the slow late game, and then you can transfer items to whatever you want. Obviously, the smolder will be a possibility, so great, and we haven't seen that pop off so far.
Yeah, if Xiue just high rolls a little bit, right? Just 2 smolders in the next few shops, that would be a massive carry to kind of propel themselves forward into the late game. And yeah, the Shyvana instantly clicked here. It's already going to be Xiue playing for yet another high cap game around that Shapeshifter Dragon. Xiue says, hey, I don't even need a good augment to do it. I can take effectively an econ augment, get that early game power spike off of it, and then transition into the late game.
I really love seeing Pressy attack from title here because we've been seeing how consistent Multi-Striker is at just kind of getting a good early start and then bleeding out a little bit into a solid top 4, and that's all title needs. So a nice little game plan there coming out once again from our format player, as Clement has been calling him, always doing exactly what is needed in each individual game, it seems like.
He needs something else. He needs for Volta not to play multi-striker because he actually got the Kassadin too, but obviously we saw he has some other options there. So hopefully they will not contest themselves. If they do, both of them will get in a very bad spot.
Also, Tidal hasn't played multi-strikers in this tournament thus far, but going back to what Panda said about Tidal being a master of all lines, doesn't need to bring it out until the exact situation where it looks good approaches him.
And Volta at 9 points, I think there's no way he commits to multis this game. I think he knows, especially contested multis, that would be absolutely wild. He knows he has to go for, yet again, like we saw in the last game, that riskier, stage 4 stabilization into a level 9 high cap game plan, which can backfire, can become another 8th, another 7th, and that, could be dire. But as was said earlier in the day, I think on game 1 during the cast, by Gangly, if you get an 8th, it doesn't really matter. There are chances that this isn't just all your points being added up. There are chances the game extends and extends and extends, and we could see this tournament finish on game 7.
Yeah, I also want to highlight really quickly just a small optimization, right? If you are a newer player, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just grab the orb, right? It's duplicator. But it does take up a slot on the bench, right? So just that little optimization, leaving one more slot open.
That's good news, though.
Yeah. We have good news. We have the change there. And some people say, okay, it's different. I don't know if I like it, but when you actually played it and you actually use it, it's so amazing. It gives you so much free space. Challenger players are loving it. Pro players are loving it. And you will love it too at home.
All right, I'm sold. You guys just sold it to me. I'm just not even going to try to deny it. But what I am also sold on is a Warwick. Notably, this is not going to be a Warwick reroll.
What do you mean, mate? Morello Warwick, isn't that pissed?
I fear, but it's a good unit. It's a strong early unit, specifically with something like a Rage Blade, so we'll be doing some lifting from it.
Someone look up the stats. Rage Blade, Rune Dance, Morello Warwick, and the stats. It's going to be 0 games played.
I'm from the school of Juan, man. I don't look at stats. I just believe in my Wolfie boy.
Oh,
Wolfie?
YBY.
You call him Wolfie?
Wolfie boy.
Like woof.
Wolf.
Ah.
Woof, woof.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wolfie. Yeah.
Boy.
Boy. Or girl.
Oh yeah, Warwick. Never mind. Anyway, we are seeing some players lining up for something else now because Warwick is out, at least in terms of item holding. Jinx is in, and she is going to be getting at least that Rage Blade and that Runans for now.
Yeah, that's always where this comp wanted to end up, especially with that Category 5 pick, right? Not too many other compositions, maybe multi-strikers can make use out of it with the Ashe or the Callista perhaps, but Jinx especially fantastic here. And already a tier 2 Jinx as well. Was that a charm to make her tier 2, or is she just fine 3 Jinx?
Had 2 on the bench, I believe, and the items were shot off the Warwick, so I assume that was an upgrade onto the Jinx, and now midfeed maybe showcasing why he is the expert on this line. The Jinxes are coming to him. True. 5 games of Jinx reroll being one of the most contested or the most contested reroll in the first 2 days is crazy that he found that spot so often and pushed other players off of it.
Yeah, because normally the spot is actually preserve HP. You don't look for a win streak, you don't look for a lose streak, you just preserve HP while you look for the items, because actually you need a lot of cloaks that are not so prevalent into the meta. So this spot with the win streak is so great for him.
And he's not the only one on a 5-win streak. YBY1 also able to get that going. Both of the 100 HP players not meeting each other for now. YBY1 is even a little bit richer here. So truly playing into that preserver line, trying to get that going as early as possible to buy some time, to start out fights and make sure that the units can kill off the enemy units, really working in YBY1's favor here.
I love what COA is doing here with not pushing levels, right? Maybe wanting to roll until hitting that Nomzi 3 is getting pretty close to a Shyvana 3 as well, right? And as we see the rolls come through, another Shyvana, another Elise, could get Elise 3 as well, rolling rather deep. But where is the Nomzi?
So we're in that weird position.
Okay.
Nomzi does come through, but there were a lot of similar units coming up, and then you couldn't buy it because the bench was full, so the shop maybe doing a little bit of a trolling. In the end, Nomzi does arrive, though, so all is well.
I know what this is. This is ZUE preparing for the next game, Upgraded Adventure 2-1. He's preparing for the legendary Chase Nomzi reroll into the huge cash out from Upgraded Adventure. ZUE's checking out all the boxes.
No, you're so right, right?
Min-maxing.
There's 3-1 costs, there's the Nomzi, the Elise, the Jace, you push 6, you get that Shyvana 3 as well. Boom,
Isn't
Upgraded
the
Adventure.
augment icon also fairly similar? I like that he's locked in.
It is, actually.
I do want to mention Darkest. They played Fairy in the very last game yesterday to guarantee their spot in this day 3, shutting the door on a very strong player like Araya. I believe that angle is similarly going to happen here for Darkest. They had a Clear Mind start, they had the Rage Blade Slam, they have overall a penchant for playing Fairy from a loose streak angle and from a kind of high econ angle, which is what Clear Mind gives you.
For YBY, their Scholar offered, already had that Preserver Augment in 2-1, could lean towards a Scholar direction, but is thinking about all the options even before rolling any here. But
Title, title additional item, so he's going for the multi-striker line, as we know, so everyone can be the carry in this line, so great for him also.
YBY won the last to pick here, still has one more roll. Too healthy being offered, will not take this one. Instead, we're going down into more Preservers, trying to play around maybe a Karma in the later stages. For now, that Bard will need to hold true. I was very excited for 0.5 seconds because I was thinking it could be a Bard, but no, I don't think so.
It will be kind of the OG bully 4-class comp at the very start of this set that I think every, high-level player loves to play. It was so fun to mix and match so many 4-cost units with Karma and the Preservers and Gwen and Fiora sometimes being part of that show. YBY won, weirdly enough, as the absolute favorite the first 2 days, only on 11 points, 7th place in the standings, needs to start coming up in the standings in the next game.
I also see that line that you just mentioned, but it's very difficult. He doesn't have XX item for it, so it will be very interesting to see him effectively trying to get the items exactly on one carry. So maybe I'm seeing a win here.
What the Forge 4-2.
Oh,
Is prepping for it already.
You're a dreamer.
Hey, Panda's right
You
about a lot of
only
things
found
so
that
far.
out now?
I'm finding it out more and more each time I talk to Panda.
Agree for
When you hit my knee, you got the energy that I'm a dreamer.
Fair enough, fair enough. We are going to be taking a look at Volta's board, though, because this is one of the 2 multi-striker players, and despite the press the attack and the extra item grab back on title, Volta says, I don't really care. I'm just going to stay on this line.
It's interesting because Volta in EMEA finals to guarantee his qualification to the global stage, he played a lot of multi-strikers. His most played comp in that tournament, he had a lot of success with it. Coming to day 1 and 2, not a single game. Could be that he just didn't have the spots for it, but it's very weird coming from Volta. Already in this day 3, his 2nd multi-striker game.
I mean, it's the angle that the game gives you, and it's very difficult to pivot out sometimes. So now...
Rakan there on the carousel for Darkest. Unfortunately, Gear Pro AM steals it, and Darkest has to settle for a Taric.
Darkest still in a good spot, though, overall for that Fairy line, right? Has Clear Mind, is going to be able to get to level 8 very quickly and roll for that board, and we see players' dreams either be made or die on that 4-1 roll down.
Look at the components. 2nd Rage Blade just acquired now off of that Rod, has a chain for the Rakan item.
So yeah, in a great spot here, is already 60 gold, level 7, 8 XP into level 7. This is going to be such a huge roll down. And again, remember, that champion duplicator to get something like a Rakan 2, a Callista 2, maybe even a Camille 2, right? If we high roll and stuff like that.
Keep dreaming, Crone. I like it.
I'm taking a page out of your book. I'm thinking big.
That's how it works. Hopping over to Balmyung, though. Just a quick reminder, Balmyung only needs like a top 5 to make it. It's on 16 points already to get to check, and is currently running a little bit of everything.
Yeah, very creative board here with the Ginsus. I thought maybe there was a chance he was trying to play the Callista, but he's actually not leveling up so much. He knows Callista is contested from the other board, so he actually cooking, just getting the tempo here with the Poppy 3, and then trying to go for some line that is free.
I want to mention Midfeed is a player who already in day 2 with the Jinx line picked up Transfiguration. Really, I think him specifically, and maybe YBY and APAC as a whole, really liked Transfiguration in that Jinx line. So I think if you ask Midfeed, what is your kind of comfort game in this game 4, everything is panning out in exactly that direction.
Yeah, I played Drinks a lot, and it was an average of 3 as well. Only 1 game was bought 4 out of those 5 games.
As the biggest reroll or most contested reroll in the day 1.
Yeah,
That's insane.
Crazy stats there.
Who's cooking here is DUA, reroll, Nomsy, Elise, Jace. The tech. The true tech. Coming up here from the CN Junior. They're the ones I believe that have been the most creative. They show us that they're extra a couple of times, not working out sometimes and working great on others. So actually, they're on the obviously island there together and popping off. It's good to see innovation, and normally it comes from there.
If you think of creativity when it comes out of China, usually it's Huanmia, but Zhuwei also saying, hey, I can be creative too. We all learn together, right? Taking the best pages out of each other's books.
Well, we are going to be needing to take a look at the players that will make some moves in that next stage, really looking for those forecast units like Darkest, who will probably be rolling right after Wolf, so we're going to try to get our eyes on it, but Zira might be posturing to maybe also do something similar.
Ooh, yeah. Darkest in the position to just passively level up to level 8 is going to have at least 60 gold in the next round. Going to be a huge roll down, but already 2 Rage Blades we talked about earlier created.
And components.
Yeah,
now we're
there
talking.
We
Give me one more cloak. Give me maybe a belt. Redemption is also okay on the Rakan there, but at least you have the stone play guaranteed. Want to buy a charm as soon as possible to have that shop slot opened up for the big reroll here. Trying to maximize the chances of the forecast.
Whoa,
Olaf, love you, but please, we need the Rakan and the Callistas.
Let's play flexibly. Buy Olaf too. Fit it on the board. No.
Olaf,
keeps
please.
Back. Where's the real units that we're
Why
looking
does
for?
he
Where's
keep
the Rakan?
coming?
Where's the Callista?
One Callista.
One and one.
Okay. Yeah. One and one.
Alright.
That's stable, right? Copium?
I mean, it's
50
more
gold for
stable
one
than a
Kalista
wave
Huracan.
one.
Yeah,
If that's what you were looking for, then yeah, you got an upgrade. But
Well-
it's not the best one.
One last thing I think Dark is really going to need here is a good combat strength augment at this 4-2. The Econ is there. He's made it to level 8. They have the clear mind to get there, and now they need combat strength to really allow the Rakan to become as unkillable as possible to buy time for the Callista.
Martyr, Combat Caster, anything like that will be amazing for him and give that additional strength. And then the healing from the Callista actually performs even better on the Rakan.
Has sold up to 34 gold, so we'll still have a decent amount of gold to reassess the situation next round. Maybe hire a little bit. Has still Duplicator to work with, so maybe we can't dream big, but it's Prismatics. What the Forge you were talking about earlier. Just hit it on
Sorry,
4-2.
but, you know, Huber doesn't trust me. At least, Crowan, you're on my side.
I got you. I'm learning from you. I'm learning from you.
Yeah,
Panda.
it's
So
actually
wise.
insane because within the EMEA region, Panda usually only jinxes
Okay,
people.
Mix, that you could.
Oh, good insight, Mix. Actually, maybe I shouldn't trust him as much
No,
as I
so
am.
listen,
I'm just
I'll
saying.
explain. I was
Okay.
using my powers for evil,
It's
and now
okay.
on the global stage where it matters most.
All right, all right. Well, bringing us back to this game, we are in our last choices. Here at the very top, you can see that there is still some thinking on what to go for, anger issues also being offered. But I do want to kind of take a step back and talk about the roll down we just saw from Darkest and from Balmyong side by side, because Balmyong was able to find that Rakan too, but not able to find that Callista. Instead found a Camille, found Emilio, so really getting those legendary units in to try and stabilize much more, which is a little bit of bad news for Darkest because they now are going to have a much harder time to get that Rakan off the ground.
Yeah, Darkest is full defense here, going for the Unified Resistance, and then with the Blossoming Lotus, he actually needs the Rakan 2 with more priority. Remember, now this is not fully crit. As time passes, you have more crit chance and more crit power, so he needs the Rakan to be as most tank as possible to be the final boss there in the front.
Looking at the gold situation as well, we know that Darkest rolled down a lot more, did not find even a pair of Callistas and Rakans. And it's that awkward position where they're forced to roll even more here on stage 4 where they don't want to be right now.
I actually love from Darkest not rolling past 10 because what if you get a Callista or a Rakan in the carousel? You want to save your duplicator until you know if you have that upside, being the first pick as well.
Being the first pick with Gear, who could also be taking something there. So Gear on that Ari reroll, we've been seeing a lot. I will say I saw something interesting that the Ari is holding. Maybe once we look at that board, we can see it in action. But for now, we're going to be watching that fight here between Volta and Balmyong. And Volta still not hitting those multi-strikers, but maybe it's good enough to circumvent the Rakan.
Yeah, it's 2 away from a lot of things here, but took that combat augment in favor of the items there, blinding speed on 4-2, making Ash that carry,
go.
and she's trying.
Go,
she's
Ash,
trying
we
her
believe in
best.
you.
Wait, can she actually do it?
Yep.
She can. All
Red
that
buff did.
healing. Wow.
Volt on you. No reaction. Full trust in the Ash.
Okay, guys, you know when we talked about YBY1's board and I was saying for 0.5 seconds, I was hoping it's a Bard reroll. Our observer is letting me know that there are 6 Bards on this board right now on the bench as well as in play. So there's also a Karma, but there's a chance is what I'm saying.
It's great. It's always good to get the bar there. Normally, it's a secondary carry. We know it also reduces the defense, the damage from the rest. So it's actually a great support unit. And we've seen it pop off. Starting game day one, maybe not so good, so prevalent. But if you have a 3, you take it.
Look at midfield at the top, 94 HP still. This is a player who essentially, in terms of his comfort and his experience, handpicked both his line, his augments, his situation, really. Not surprised to see the domination here in stage 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than the usual Jinx we see, however. It's going to be Vanguard Jinx, right? Whereas the Wukong not on the board, but doesn't need to be here either, saying that, hey, I'm such an expert in this line, I can make it work out on these other variations that no one even else is going to think about.
I really like this. This is a little bit of cooking, and it's also a little bit of item holding that I'm seeing as these Kassadins are being taken out of the pool by midfeed as well. Says 2 multi-striker players. Let me just make that a little bit harder for you guys.
Yeah, also because they're rolling for the Gallia, right? That 2 cost, the Rumble as well, the Kog'Maws, so more 2 costs out of the pool, better for midfeed, but has a lot of gold, has a lot of HP, so can afford to hold the Kassadins.
Also very important, no one playing the Bastard Vanguard line, so no one will contest the Mordekaiser. It will be easier for him to get that final raid buff in the center, and that will be the time that you want to replace that Wukong that is so important.
I think that's exactly the recognition of why that's going to be a Vanguard lean.
Wait, he made the Kassadin too.
I mean, might as well. Look at the HP, look at the money. There's no reason not to.
We're rich.
One off the Jinx, has a duplicator. Ideally, I imagine, with the HP buffer.
Maybe we got to sell the Kassadin now, actually, to make bench space. -1 gold.
Volta's like, all good, I already hit. Keep holding.
True.
Well, Tidal is not on the chopping block, but a player is on 19 HP, and it's YBY1. Now, we are in 4-6. Unless that loss is terrible, I think we should be safe here.
Actually, I think Volta's not saying all good, Panda. 0 gold, 1 off of Ashe, 1 off of Jax, and that's Petrocolor's Jace, right? Gets the backline, gets taken out immediately at least.
Thank the lords that Kassadin did bodyguard duties and absorbed the aggro from the Jace there, or else our hero Ashe would have been taken down. Regardless, does not matter in the end. The Shyvana combination able to clean up. Volta taken down, now 230 HP.
Wow, it was very close though. But Volta, not a good spot. But if anyone can get out of the situation, I think it is Volta. It's going to be natural Jax and Ashe in the next shop. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Checking in with Darkest. So they just lost the previous round. We are seeing the Kalista 2, but what we're not seeing is either a duplicator or the Rakan 2. So has sacrificed a duplicator to make that Kalista to stabilize maybe a little bit, even though that Rakan might have been more important?
I think the one thing I want to mention is the heads up on the itemization. Doesn't slam the stone plate because of the unified resistance, understanding that there is going to be full aggro onto just a single unit due to the positioning. Instead slams a vow and hopes now for a secondary tank item onto this Rakan finally, which could maybe even be more important than the upgrade at this point in time.
Yeah, what's that item going to be though is the question here. Could be Declaw, could be
Gargoyle, probably.
Yeah, I mean, if you position it correctly on which side, that's still going to be a lot of power there.
2 Kalistas, 0 Rakan. That's a taunt from the shop.
Yeah, has to just sell the extra Kalistas. Kalista 3 is not a win condition that we can play for here. And yeah, I think we were dreaming a little too big here when thinking about potentially that Camille 2 for the duplicator. It's not even a Rakan 2 going into stage 5 here. Oh, here we go, Makes. I think this was what you were talking about earlier with the Ahri with a very interesting item on it.
Oh yeah, I was hoping to see this board. I was not hoping to see it against an Emiya player, but that's a different storyline.
You win some, you lose some.
That's right. Gear cooking with the Ascension here on the Ahri. Also has the Radiant Jewel Gauntlet, so really full power to this Ahri reroll and will serve a full set of damage to Volta. Story for Darkest though seems to be the same. Both of the Emiya players taking hits left, right, and center. And that also means that we have our first players that are going to be up for maybe elimination out of our game 4.
Yeah, on the other hand, the people in the front midfield doing the Vanguard Jeans variation, ZUA being so strong there with a fast 9, and we were playing them with also great possibilities.
No Rakan there, unfortunately, for Darkest. Gets the charm to buy a champion for free. Does find it, but he's one off. Has to maybe swap. Is there any unit you can swap with here? The answer is no.
No.
The Katarina's 1-star on the board as well. So there was a heads-up option. I think you have to swap something here, even if it means losing traits.
Oh, finds on the Hecarim, actually.
Oh, nice.
That's best case situation, actually, that could have happened.
Absolute high roll. Is this Rakantu going to be enough to win this fight for Darkest?
Oh,
and they are up against Balmyang, who's still item carrying a Tristana.
Tristana's the fakest unit at this point in the game. There is Emilio too, though, so maybe that can make the matchup a bit more even.
This Camille as well could be scary. Yeah. Emilio item on the BT now for the Camille.
Oh, on the left.
Taken out by Tidal, says, you dare to contest me on the multi-strikers, this is what happens. And both EMEA players are actually going to be looking at a similar fate. Can Kalista clutch it out? Yes, she can, but Balmyang stays alive as well.
Man, for Volta, that's so tragic, right? First couple of games were reroll, landed in the bottom four, said, all right, I'm not going to play reroll anymore, I'm going to go into the Scholars, got third, but right back into the multi-reroll line, and yeah, landed in an 8th.
Yeah, I mean, everyone remembers the high rolls from Volta, but actually he puts himself in this position where he needs a little luck to perform, so he went to level 6, still not having the one cost that he needed 3-star. The game normally gives them to you. It didn't happen this time, but then when it happened, we say it's a high roll. He actually is performing, he's playing the way he wants. He only needs that push of luck that he always can take.
Balmyang finds Kalista. Will that be enough for Kalista 1 as a way to maybe win and stay alive in this lobby?
On the right-hand side, Darkest fighting for survival against Tidal. All of these players are incredibly low, and all of these players are fighting for placements. Volta is already out, so 2 points are guaranteed as they are making their way towards checkpoint. Is it good enough?
No.
Kalista underpowered. Darkest is going to be out here, unfortunately.
Balmyang
and the same fate meets Balmyang.
I want to commend Tidal on the adaptability. Understands, hey, Kassadin's going to be contested this game from Volta. I will pivot into the lower cost reroll on both the Akali and the Jax instead. And the Jax putting in so much work. I think alongside Jace, a really underrated one cost the entire set.
It's actually a tragic 6 for Balmyang as well. They were 16 points coming into this game. Now plus 3 points means they're going to be only on 19, not in check quite yet.
Both Fairy players dead, and of course, a Fairy on the carousel. Just TFT things.
Oh, it's a tragedy.
CUA also getting here the Giant Slayer is huge for him. He already knows the cap board. He will go probably on the Smolder, and going up against all of these three-star units, perfect for him, and he could even cap up more. So CUA, we already know any points. He's already in the cutoff, but he wants even more.
Well, let's talk about the player who's not in the cutoff yet, because that is Gear, currently sitting on 5th place. Really needed a 1st place here, and with 3 HP, that dream might not come together. Looking at the board on the left-hand side, we're going to get another glimpse at this Ahri, but is it good enough? Can it actually do something against the Dragon on the other side from midfeed?
Wow. Yeah, the Dragon, one of the most powerful combat charms. Midfeed on that Jinx 3 as well. There's so much power to that composition, but can Ahri ascend with that talisman?
The Bastion angle from this Ahri is trying to buy as much time as possible, but despite the extra armor, the Jinx tears through everything with just so much raw power coming in. Gear PYM taken down. That means Gear PYM can no longer get to that check, as Balmyang also cannot.
Tidal has, though. Tidal with the top 4 is going to be at least 20 points. So we have GUA and Tidal.
YBY1 starting at only 11 also can't reach check in this game. Midfeed, though, needs a 2nd or better.
That's the only condition on where you two are correct, by the way. So midfeed taking a top 2 would put 3 players on check going forward, which what you both predicted. Reminding our audience here. Taking a look at YBY1 and Tidal side by side as we once more get a look at Tidal's board. Did eliminate 2 EMEA players, but now had a loss in that previous game as well. And it seems like the multi-strikers cannot really breach the front line of the full Vanguard power. That Kassadin is getting pushed around, and Tidal taking a massive loss.
Yeah, that's okay though. Has done the job of getting to that 20-point mark, so not too sad about a 4th place there. YBY on a 6th streak, and YBY actually playing this game so well. Panda, you were talking about it earlier, right? This is kind of harkening back to the beginning of Magic and Mayhem around this kind of Preserver flex line. There's the Fiora, there's the Gwen. No Karma in the backline like we saw back then, but there's still a Bard doing a little bit of work too.
And Karma, of course, no longer heals your entire team.
Yeah, that was the big part of it.
Maybe a big part of why she's not currently on this board. Was an incredibly strong unit in terms of DPS, spreading burn, but also just allowing to just constantly heal and keep your entire team alive, especially the dangerous units like the Gwen and the Fiora.
Yeah, it's normally a comp that you need excessive resources, and he managed to achieve these 2 double Thieves Gloves for the front line. That's enough for him, so great to see. And the Morgana too, that is so huge now in the late game.
Well, we've been talking about midfeed and the whisper of the Hunter comp, how creative this approach on the Vanguards is, and he just found yet another 2 really big upgrades. That Mordekaiser's 3 and that Olaf 2 are going to be helping the sport so much, despite midfeed being so healthy at the top there with 72 HP. This is looking to shake out quite in favor of our APAC player as he does go up against Ziyue.
Ziyue having a Nora 2 randomly in the back line. Where did that come from? It's going to be providing a lot of damage, but doesn't necessarily synergize too well with that. But oh, look at the Category 5 power from Jinx. All of those Runan's bullets taking out the back line as midfeed claims another win on a 4 streak now.
5v1 down to 2 HP.
He's the strongest right now, but Ziyue, YBY have more possibilities to ramp up, but he doesn't have to allow it. Midfeed knows that, so this is charm buying, being as strong as possible, take out YBY, and then if Ziyue cannot find the Briar 2, cannot find the Smolder 2, could be an easy win here for midfeed.
5 Morganas, maybe with 2 HP, you don't have enough time to really go for this a win, but if YBY1, you know, wins 1 or 2 more fights, finds a Morgana on the carousel, could sell his entire board to try and guarantee the win in this game, stopping midfeed potentially from also reaching check.
That's true. Midfeed, though, a lot of HP to go through already, but YBY versus Ziyue here.
Yeah, the question is, can YBY1 make it to that carousel?
Look at this Morgana, what a feat.
Wow.
Actually try to take down as much as possible. The answer is, yep, it's working out for now. Takes down Ziyue, says, if I'm going down, you're going down
Wrong
with
5
me.
cost.
One more fight before the carousel.
If we get animate bench too, that's also maybe a reason that we're keeping these Morganas around. Polymorph came through, but no. Back row star, the charm. Salvager, maybe, if we want to make some late game swaps with the items. Hey, animate bench came through, but the Morganas are no longer there.
Stuff, no charm here for YBY. On the left, Ziyue finding the +1 shapeshifter. So, looks better for him. Whoever gets the real midfeed, and it will be YBY, he knows. He knows, and this is a tough part for him. Should be the win here for midfeed.
It could actually be a double elimination because midfeed is fighting both of these boards, one with his ghost and one with the real deal, and that's a lot of power coming out of the Hunter.
Look at the Gwen. Oh. Not able to do it. The Jinx wins. Midfeed takes down YBY1.
Ziyue, though, persists, makes it through, gets that carousel. One more chance at an upgrade. One more chance to upturn and solidify your placement here with yet another first place for the CN player.
The top 2 does guarantee midfeed reaches check in this game number 4. So gonna get really, really spicy in game 5 as players start to now angle towards those win conditions.
This is not what I thought the top 2 would be, with Ziyue having Stars Are Born, going Nomzi 3, and having that actually be a strong enough carry to get into the late game. Smolder is basically not even a part of this composition. It's just there for the 3 Dragon buff, but a lot of power on that Shyvana as well. 3 very good items. Again, I don't know where that Nora 2 came from, but might as well slot it in as it gives a lot of power,
even in the
especially to that Shyvana.
Yeah, the character had the Death Blade, and he decided not to go for the Morty. He already has the Nora 2, so he gets the Archangel. So 3-item Nora here, totally isolated, could be the win here for Ziyue.
And the Jace, I think, has been really impactful with the Radiant Artifact level, the Capricious buff as well, in terms of how much you can use different items.
Olaf just takes it
I think not just the Jace, but generally the entire approach from Ziyue to say, okay, I am going to use this Stars Are Born to full capacity, get those 3 stars, trying to play ahead.
The
but is it good enough? That Mordekaiser is a beast and a half.
The Archangel
Can it take down Nora on his own with Twitch support from the backline? One more swing. I don't know if he can do it. That's too strong.
And midfeed says, no worries, 46 HP still to work with, 50 gold to work with, a chance to go 9, a chance to find another level of cap for this Hunter board.
Yeah, looking at the gold tells a lot of that story there, right? Getting a support anvil there. There's so much higher that midfiend can go to cap here. Where on the other side, ZUA, 0 gold, can't even buy a good combat
They're
charm.
gonna probably
here.
wait to pick the Zephyr right before the fight starts, so no information is given to his opponent. Positioning, maybe,
Great
just
pick.
off of the position, you can kind of tell that a Zephyr could be picked.
Even puts Rumble in a position to be able to Zephyr a corner, Twitch in the other one too.
Thumbs
Rumble.
up, Zephyr will hit and will take up the Jace out of all units. That's going to be the target one. However, Shyvana has made her way into the backline, is under fire by these Hunter units as they are collapsing onto the Shapeshifter board. And I think from here on out, it's too little for ZUA as Midfeed takes the first place in game number 4 here.
Midfield.